In this video, we will continue to talk about fluid ray in SketchUp using SketchUp. So first of all, we're going to open up a scene as usual, and we can get started. So we're just going to see here some basic navigation and how to explore our scene using our different keys. And also I will show you where you can see all the keys in order to memorize them or retrieve the information whenever you need it, or whenever you need to refresh some of these basic commands that we're gonna see here in this video. So again, we're starting from the really basic things, the fundamental things you need to know in order to work properly in Enscape in combination with SketchUp. So we're gonna take it slow and nice and easy. We don't have to rush. We're gonna go through the more complex things later on in the course. So in this video, we are just gonna see things for beginners. If you are an expert, of course, you can just skip on and move on. So when we open up Enscape, every time you're gonna see this panel here, which is gonna show us what basically are the first steps, the first basic things you need to know in order to manage Enscape. Now, we already saw some of these things, but we're gonna refresh it. So here we can see here the first step is of course to open the Enscape toolbar. We already saw that. Right click and make sure that this toolbar is visible. Then we can start the Enscape Render. So if I click on the E here, it's gonna open up the Enscape real-time ray tracing rendering, and I'm gonna keep it right there. You can see here I split my view into two parts. With the left side I have Enscape, the right side I have SketchUp, so that I can work on both simultaneously. And of course you need to know, and you need to be a little bit expert in SketchUp. And if you don't and you want to know more about SketchUp, you can check our video course in SketchUp and also in other plugin like V-Ray for SketchUp and so on. So then we can start to use navigation. We already saw that. So WASD, just like in video game, W to go forward, S to go back, A to go left, and D to go right. And then you can also switch from walk to fly mode. We're gonna see what's the difference between the walkthrough and the fly through. And then we can look around with the left mouse. We can already test these buttons right here. So this is look around. So if I click with my left mouse, it's gonna, change the orientation of my view. And then I can press W, S to go back, A to go left, D to go right. And then we can orbit. So we can choose, for example, a point with our mouse and orbit around that pivot, around that precise point. And then we have time of day. This is also a really interesting feature here. And I'm going to close this panel right now, and we're going to see also where we can get more information. So if I hold shift and right click with my mouse and click and drag my right click of my mouse, I can see there the time of the day is changing. So I can go into really early hours here, like in early morning. And if I continue, I can go also in a night scene. So this is a complete dark scene, night scene, and I can see the moon somewhere around there. You can see there we have the moon, we have the stars, clouds. So it's really interesting to switch from day and night scene with just a single click. So right click and shift key is gonna change everything. Now you can see I've lost my synchronization here. Remember that every time you want to synchronize, you can click here to synchronize the view. Now another important information about synchronizing the views. So when I synchronize the views, I can orbit and navigate inside SketchUp, and it's going to replicate what I'm doing in Enscape. But look what happens here in this toolbar. Now, for example, if I want to change the navigation mode from walk to fly mode, I cannot do it because right now I am in this synchronized view setup, which doesn't let us use this feature here. So if I deactivate this one here, I'm gonna lose the synchronization of the two views. So right here I can move separately. but I can also have more option in the Enscape viewport, in the Enscape toolbar. So I'm gonna just leave SketchUp Pro for now. I'm gonna expand Enscape so we can see what these buttons are about, and I will also make more example later, but just to show you here, we have these additional tools. So one is change the type of perspective. So this is a perspective view, and you can see here the other information. Selects the projection mode, disable for VR, synchronized views, and video editor. So you can see that only something you can use for with other tools, and so you need to understand that you cannot use everything with everything. And again, disable for VR, synchronized views, and video editor. And orthographic, it's another way you can see in 3D, which is not distorted by perspective. So it's kind of maintaining the size of and the length, the width, and the height of the model without distorting it as the perspective does. So 2-point perspective is just a different perspective, and 1-point perspective here, so standard perspective. So you have these 3 types of visualization, and then let's see how we can switch to fly and walk. Now usually we are in fly mode, so the standard is the fly mode, which means that I can move around, I can pass through the objects and go the other way and just fly through, fly down, fly up. Now depending on where you point with your mouse and how you use WASD, you're gonna move around your scene. So with the left mouse, you're gonna point in a precise direction, and you can also click. Also, a feature which is really interesting is to double click. It's gonna do like a smart zoom. So with the left mouse, you can change the things that you're looking at. You can double click with the left mouse to zoom quickly, and also you can do other things, but we're gonna see that later. Now you can also use the scroll wheel to zoom in and zoom out. And with the left mouse, again, you're gonna orbit, but also if you hold shift and click, you can change the sun position. So you can do kind of a solar study on the fly. Now, let's go into the other mode, which is the walk mode, which is really interesting when you need to explore your scene. Now, you can also do this with virtual reality, so it's going to be even more immersive. But right now, let's just use the standard walk mode. So I'm going to click here, or I can press the space bar. Space bar is going to switch from fly to walk. Now, by the way, when you are in fly mode, you can also move up and down using the Q key and the E key of your keyboard. So WASD to move around, and also Q and E to move down and up, so flying up or flying down. Now, when you are in walkthrough mode, you cannot actually go up and down because you are walking, you're not flying anymore. So you can just walk around using, again, the left mouse and A, D, S, W to move around. And when you find some obstacle like this, you can see you cannot pass through. So when you walk, you cannot walk through objects. You can always walk through architecture if you have an opening like a door or a portal, something like that. Now, also interesting how these characters here are moving and always looking at me when I move around. Now, this is a feature from SketchUp, but it's also replicated here in Enscape. So I'm gonna walk around, and here I have kind of a higher part of my model. So I'm gonna like step up here. You saw that. So when you have stairs, you can actually walk on the stairs when you are in walkthrough mode. And when you are here, you cannot pass through the table, so you cannot pass through the obstacles. And this is gonna make it pretty realistic again when you are in virtual reality, but also here on your computer. By the way, you can use also a gamepad if you have it. You can plug the gamepad and it should work like Xbox, gamepad, or things like that. Okay, so you can see these are really basic navigation systems. Now we're gonna go here on this question mark icon at the top right. Now this is where we can retrieve the information whenever we forget them, or we forgot something in particular. We can go here and check everything back again. So the move tools here, you can see we have the controls and we have basic and advanced. So let's just review the basics, and these are the navigation again: fly up, fly down, E and Q. We just saw that. The switch from walk to fly mode with the space, look around, left mouse, orbit, right mouse, pan. Now this is another feature actually. So if you press the scroll wheel, if you scroll your scroll wheel, you're gonna do a zoom. If you press the scroll wheel, you're gonna do a pan. And there is the teleport, which is double click. So double click, it's a quick zoom, which is also called teleport, apparently. And then you have time of the day, shift and right mouse. And you also have page up, page down to move into previous favorite views, but we don't have at the moment this available probably. And then we have advanced. So advanced ask is gonna leave everything you're doing at the moment. So some of these we're gonna see later, but just try to memorize some of those and you can always go back here anytime. Now, this is also pretty handy. To move faster, you can hold control. So you can do everything we did so far. So zoom in, zoom out, pan, orbit, look around. You can do everything faster if you hold shift actually, but also if you hold control, it's gonna go even faster. So move fast is gonna be the shift key, move faster is gonna be the control key. So if you wanna do everything faster because you have a larger scene and you feel that you're going too slow, you can fix that using these two keys. And then we have standard views using the numbers in the numpad. So if I click 4, I'm gonna get into the left side, right side, front, back, front, and top. Really, really handy. Now, if you switch in the orthographic mode, you can see that this is not a perspective. So this is actually a real like 2D drawing. It's not too technical yet, but we can make it look more like a technical drawing. Later, we're gonna see some extra stuff about this view configuration and managing the view. But here you can see how we can move around and check all the different views. I have also some tree here that go to low there. I can adjust those in SketchUp, but I don't care at the moment. Just want to show you how to navigate here in Enscape. So you can see how I can use different numbers here to have different views and also switch from perspective to that more technical drawing. Now, time of day, you can press the U and the E, and again, it's like changing with the shift and the right mouse, but probably here you have more, you can have more control with the U and the E. And if you do shift U and E, you can change the solar angle. So the position of the sun. Again, you can go in a night scene or a day scene. And also, if you hold Control U and E, you can change the angle of the rotation, so the solar rotation. This means that I can position the sun anywhere I want and adjust it again with the U and the E and the shift, the U and the E. You can see how it's changing here, the position. So these are just different ways you can manipulate your sun here with the U and the E. Now, if I go lower, I can actually see my sun there. So I am moving the sun here with the shift key. And let's move the angle with the control. Right now I'm moving the solar rotation here, Control E. So find the one that you like the most and just use it for your view. And then you can reset the sun anytime using the home key And context menu, right click. So this is for like creating an issue, so report something in your project for your collaborators, or you can show the BIM data right here, but there are no BIM information right here, or BIM information. Building information modeling is for ArchiCAD or Revit models, and like families and types. You can get the information of anything that it's BIM, so it's not a standard 3D model. Now you also have some extra information here. If you expand the part concerning the toolbars, it's gonna explain to you how to change the mode, how to activate some toggles, other settings here. Well, you can check this yourself. Now for the preferences, you can go here. We're gonna see some of those later, but one thing you could do already is enable sound if you have sound, and show the sound sources if you have sound sources. And also you can pin the Enscape window on top of the host application, which means that if I use the two in combination, if I open up SketchUp, you can see it's always gonna go back, while if I change that, it's gonna go in the front. So if I unpin that, you can see that I'm gonna go here and see this on the top. Now I want to see another scene here. I want to show you another scene from the SketchUp video course. We're gonna switch scenes so that we can see more examples. Now this is gonna be more like an interior scene and also a section. So I want to show you how you can also set up some views, some technical views. Now I'm changing the scene in SketchUp, so automatically I should see here also the change in Enscape shortly. There you go. So you can see I'm changing the scene. It's exporting the materials from SketchUp, importing into Enscape, and there it is. So this right here is an interior, it's a section. So if you use a section tool that you have in SketchUp, it's also gonna be visible here in Enscape. So again, I can synchronize, but I'm gonna lose some of the functionalities here. So you need to decide if you want to use one or the other. You can see here we have a section tool that is gonna create. I'm gonna also close this right now, so we have more space. And I can see here, I can see inside, but it's not, I don't have enough light. So I need to change the sun so that more light gets into the scene. And of course, if you go in an iScene, you won't see the project properly. You can see there how I can see my sun getting inside my scene, and then I can change the position using the U and the E, and again Shift U, Shift E, and again Control U, Control E, so I can see all how the sun behaves in my project. So I can do a solar study. I can understand how the sun is gonna go inside my project, my building, and decide if I need to make some change here in Enscape, in SketchUp, or if it's fine. So it's really powerful tool to test all these information about how my project is gonna then work in real life, in real world. Now you can see that even though the sun is getting inside my scene, it cannot pass through this part of the model. So I need to probably insert some artificial light inside, some more lights that gonna light up the interiors. But we're gonna see this later on in the course. This is just to show you how we can use this first navigation system and tools. Now again, I can change here I can exit from the synchronized view, and I can use the various numbers on the numpad to change the view real quick and see my project from different angles. And again, I can go in orthographic, and this is gonna be more technical right now. And again, I don't have too much light. I can also change the view and make it look technical here in Enscape, but we're gonna see these things later on. This is just, again, an introduction about the navigation system mainly. Okay, now other things we can do here, we can make it also stereo mode. If you have like stereoscopic 3D glasses, you can set that. And let me just disable this. Okay, and here in the input we have all the part concerning the navigation again. Now this one here is more for the output. So here you can change the mouse speed, the mouse smoothing. Now you can directly test what you're doing here. So you can see if your movements are too smooth, you can decrease the smoothing. So you can make the test and see which one works best for you. You can also invert the X and epsilon axis of your mouse and see how if it's working better for you. For me, no, I cannot work like that, so I'm gonna just deactivate those. And there you see the gamepad, so you can invert the gamepad epsilon axis. You can also change the movement speed. So if you have a really low speed, everything's gonna go really slow. Like I am moving right now, but I'm doing that really slow, just scrolling my mouse and pushing my mouse to do the zoom and the pan, but it's going really slow. So if I push this all the way, you can see how I can move faster with the pan and the zoom. So you can define a really high starting point for the speed of the movements if you want. And again, you can smooth the movements. So you can see it's gonna like ease out and ease in. The movement is not gonna be like stopping at once. It's gonna be slowly decelerating and slowly accelerating. And you have also this one here, Space Mouse, which enables the camera navigation via 3D connection Space Mouse. Well, this is another tool that you can use. You can also set a different spectator height. So you can see here these are the average height. For woman is 1.63 meters. For man is 1.76. So you can adjust the value here for the height and also the width. Now the width, it's something that concerns again the walkthrough. So we're gonna see just another example in just 1 second. And this one here is the last. It's gonna be the screenshot hotkey when you wanna create a quick shot key. So you can clear if you want. You can use any key or any combination here. You have all the information that you need. If you roll over stuff here, it's gonna give always some information that can be helpful. Now let's see about the spectator height and spectator width. So I'm gonna increase the height a little bit, and let's also increase the width. So I need to go here and let's also change this one to perspective so that I can switch from fly mode to walkthrough. Now when you place your character in a without a pavement, without a floor, it's gonna like fall into the space, so you don't want that. It's gonna then change to fly mode, otherwise it's gonna get too far, so it's gonna automatically switch to fly mode, which again lets you go inside and go through the walls like a ghost. So right here I have a pavement, so I'm gonna go here and then leave my fly mode and set the walk mode. Now walk mode again is really realistic because you can see here I can go through the openings, but right now I'm too width. I am too big that I cannot pass through, so I need to decrease the width. If I set this to be really low, I'm gonna be a really thin character, so I can pass through any space here. There you go. So I can then experiment and explore my project, my interiors, my exteriors, whatever. Here I am. You can see here in this other room. And remember that if you don't have a pavement, you're gonna fall down. Well, actually, I cannot go more than that because I have a section there. But if I go here, I'm gonna fall, and it's gonna automatically switch to the fly mode. So this is why you can set the spectator width together with the spectator height. Remember, press spacebar if you want to change from fly mode to Walktrough. And this is basically how I can explore, navigate my scene. I can do this also with VR devices and do like virtual reality. It's gonna be a really immersive experience for me to understand how my project works again. Now I want to show you a couple of extra examples. And remember that using SketchUp you have the 3D warehouse. Now 3D warehouse, it's really a huge resource because you really will find anything here. So for example, if I want to look for like interior design, let's look for a chair. So I can look for objects that I can use, of course, in SketchUp here, and then that's gonna be also shown in Enscape. So you can see here you have products and models. So you can use products, you can use models. So let's, for example, click here, and you can load this directly into your SketchUp project like this. So I'm gonna decide where to place it. So let's say that I want to place it here. There you go. So now if I go there, my object is gonna be there because everything here is synchronized, and it's also gonna look better than SketchUp. Remember that if you don't want this synchronization with the 3D model, you can deactivate this here, the live updates. So you can use a lot of 3D objects from the 3D warehouse. You can also use an entire scene. Now in that case, you can see here also you can use other extensions in SketchUp, but I want to show you here the 3D warehouse again. So you can use entire architectural scene where you have like entire houses or mansions that you can use. So search for here, search for products, and you will find a lot of architecture. Just type the correct words there. You can type like modern. See some modern houses and villas. There you go. Now I'm gonna do a couple of examples here just to show you how the stair works. So we can use some of these projects here. Let's see this one here. So I'm gonna click, and I can load this directly in my SketchUp model, or I can save it. So if I say no, it's gonna save it in my computer. If I say yes, it's gonna automatically load that into my project. So it's gonna be added to the current project, like the chair. Or you can create just a new scene and use that. Now, you can see that the longer it takes to download, the heavier will be the scene, also in the rendering. So it means that it contains a lot of geometry, a lot of polygons, a lot of really detailed models, which this means that it's gonna look great, but it's also taking more time for downloading and also later on to be opened and to be rendered. Okay, so you can see that my project now is being uploaded. It's a pretty small, but it has a lot of details. Well, actually, it's a pretty small stair. I thought that was bigger, but I think it's gonna be enough for the example here. Now, you will also notice that when you import things in SketchUp, sometimes the materials will look great. Sometimes they will look even greater, like the water. And there you go. That's the stairs. Even though it's a really small stair, I can definitely use it. And when I encounter an obstacle, I can always switch with the spacebar to the fly mode, and then go back to the walk mode with the spacebar. So you cannot like open doors or things like that. So you need to pass through those just by typing. And look how beautiful looks this bathtub here. Okay, so again, every time you find an obstacle, switch with the spacebar. Now, in some projects, I just gonna show you a couple of projects that I have already used and downloaded from warehouse just to show you about the materials. So I'm gonna open up here. So this is how they're gonna look like when you download it, by the way, instead of just directly open them into the scene. So this is a kind of a villa project just to show you. And you can see that some of materials are going to be recognized as like actual grass. This is not the grass that we saw before, it's worse. So we need to set up those special materials. We're going to see that later. And this water here also doesn't look really great, but look at the water here near the house. It's like animated and looks beautiful. Why? Because we need to set up this using what are called special materials, but we're gonna see this later. So we're gonna stop here. If you're interested in other video courses, you can check our channel. You will find video courses in SketchUp and also Revit and other CAD, BIM, and 3D application. And also please join the channel to support us.